last day and a half. Now time for the nightcap. First of 2 games here to round out day 2 here on Beck Sports. West Fargo and Tri-Valley getting set to go head-to-head. Let's take a look at our Eventide Senior Living Community Keys to the Game. Find out more information at eventide.org. For Tri-Valley, a 16-1 win in just 3.5 innings worth of work yesterday versus Arkadelphia. No notes, just keep the energy going, right?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. That's a real fast post-game meeting. Like, guys, you did great. Let's do all of that again. Pretty simple coaching at its most basic, but they're not going to have to think about it. Their approach here at Artie Noffitt Stadium has been unbelievably good. Do the same thing again.
On the other side of things, talking about the North Dakota State champs, West Fargo, just trying to move base runners and get something going offensively after being shut out against Tallahassee.
It's productive outs, right? Even if you're going to put one of those 3 up on the board, you need to be able to utilize, if you get a base runner on with no outs or 1 out, go ahead and sacrifice that out for a base or 2. Score a run here or there. It's going to have to be grinded out baseball. At the end of this tournament, the team that's remaining is probably going to be the one who came up with the timely hits and scrapped their way through.
Those are Eventide your Senior Living Community Keys to the Game. We're going to step away for a moment for the anthem and then continue things here on the Farmers Union Insurance pregame show. Set for our 3rd of 4 games here today here at Artie Noffitt Stadium. David Sugarman alongside Corey Brooks. Let's keep the pregame going here with our look at the Proceed player matchup. Need seed, think Proceed. Austin O'Lean coming into this one. 1 for 3 yesterday was one of the few bright spots, but Grant Henninger on the other side, fantastic. 2 for 3 and 4 RBIs.
Yeah, you're putting up a 4 RBI day. You've done a lot of things right. We had a couple of 3s, a lot of 2s, but 4 stands by itself as a top flight offensive showing here in Williston.
So Grant Henninger and Austin O'Lean, your players to watch. Need seed, think Proceed. West Fargo, the home team on the scoreboard, so they will be in the field first. Let's take a look at our starting lineup brought to you by Vogel Law Firm. We're more than just a client, your trusted partner in your case as that young man gets a little souvenir here for the Babe Ruth World Series. That'll find a special place on the shelf, I'm sure. Kaysen Nordic will be catching balls and strikes from who else but Austin O'Lean, who we just highlighted. Left to right in the infield, Cooper Fuchs, Brody Medina, Aiden Bioni, and Noah Betker on first. Left to right in the outfield, Jackson Narum, Ian Scarry, and Bryce Mattern. Those are your starting lineups for West Fargo, brought to you by Vogel Law Firm. So it will be Tri-Valley up to bat first, and this is an offense that exploded yesterday for 16 runs. At this point, a tournament high. We had 10 earlier in the day. They did that in 3.5 innings worth of work. I mean, it just felt like 1 through 9, they got whatever they wanted off of Arkadelphia.
I mean, they did it in 3 innings worth of work, but really it was just 1 inning. They almost batted around twice in their entire lineup. Absolutely got going and ended the game. You know, they had the 10-run rule pretty quickly. That would have forced them to go through 5, and they were like, no. We're going to keep going. And they get that margin to 15, and that game ends lickety-split just like that. So Tri-Valley, for the teams that have already played, they have played the least. Arkadelphia is off today. So Tri-Valley hasn't spent a lot of time here at Artie Noffitt Stadium. We'll get a little more today.
So if you're West Fargo, you see that game yesterday, or at least you see the box score, that 16-1 inning jumps off the page. What do you do today to try and limit them, or at least make sure they don't run wild on you?
Realistically, Austin O'Lean's not going to do anything differently today than he would have done yesterday without the knowledge of what Tri-Valley brings to the table. You have to approach, and these guys do, every single team in this World Series as if they're the best team in the country, because the odds are, if they're not, they're still pretty close. And you've gotten here by doing what you do well. Does it create some added pressure knowing what they did yesterday? Absolutely. Does it make you want to hit your spots a little more? Sure. But you don't go up there trying to miss. So the intention remains the same no matter what. Austin O'Lean, though, knows he has to be sharp, especially in the early game. This Tri-Valley lineup does not let you settle in.
Olean pitching this year, a 2.9 ERA, 9 strikeouts, does have 24 walks, but this is a guy that head coach Phil Medina really, really likes. Throws strikes and maybe more than that, and you need that in a big game like this going against an offense. Big league pitching attitude was the way he was described to us.
Yeah, anytime you go sub-3 ERA in Babe Ruth where runs are pretty common, you've done a lot of really, really good things right, and so that command and control is going to be paramount. Tri-Valley loves to hit the ball, but they're not going to beat themselves. They'll play strong.
So, Tri-Valley coming off the 16-1 victory over Arkadelphia. West Fargo coming off a 3-0 loss against Tallahassee. Big game in pool play for both. Tri-Valley trying to begin to separate themselves from the pack. West Fargo trying to get on the board and not put themselves any more behind the 8 ball. Hudson Flora to lead things off. Here we go, back at it from Ardeen Offutt Stadium.
Flora playing the mind games right away.
Showing bunt in the leadoff spot. Flora, productive player, did go 0 for 2 yesterday. Was one of the few guys without a hit in that game. 10 players with hits, 9 different players with RBIs for Tri-Valley as Olean zips one in there for strike 1.
Hudson's going to be happy to just stand in the batter's box here and take a full at bat. He got plunked twice yesterday. Neither one was all that serious, but it never feels good. You just want to go to the World Series and play baseball.
The 1-1, miss it high. Tri-Valley, the champs from the Pacific Southwest, won both the state and regional tournament, and program that's had a lot of success over the years. 9 World Series titles between the age groups of 13 to 15 combined. And hoping to come from the West Coast to Williston and continue that success. Flora manning shortstop today in the field. Awaits the 2-2. Rocks into right. Coming up and making the snag is Matter.
Yeah, Bryce originally stepped back. That's going to be the nod to how good this Tri-Valley team is. But then he got a real read on it, came up, and makes the play routinely.
And certainly the right philosophy. If you're playing a team that can really bang it, you do want to just do what you can to keep it in front of you, and Madden plays it correctly. Dylan Souza up next. 1 for 1. Scored twice yesterday, plus an RBI. It'll be Souza, Grant Henninger, who was really the catalyst that got things going in that big 16-run third inning yesterday with 4 RBIs. 1-0 rip foul. And then it's George Schmidt, Mateo Minetti, Cade Robertson, Aiden Foley, Jake Tsunomoto. Rounding things out, Eli Davidson and R.J. Manicki. One, missing wide. Weather has remained good and remained hot. It's supposed to be one of our hotter days of the tournament. Currently 97 degrees here in Williston. 2-1, Chopper, third. Fuchs off the bounce and delivers a perfect throw.
2 good defensive plays here for the North Dakota State champs. These have not been easy here in this tournament, but so far so good.
And we've talked at some length about the importance of the routine plays, especially when you're going against a team where it feels inevitable that they're going to have their big moments in their runs, so you don't want to give them anything. They'll go get it all themselves. Grant Henninger, 2 for 3 and 4 RBIs in the win yesterday. A team high.
Team high, tournament high. Through day 1.
See what we can work with here. 2 balls and no strikes. 2 outs on the board, so a strong start for Olean. Comebacker. Olean able to take his time. 3 up and 3 down. The Tri-Valley bats quieted in the first inning. Catching balls and strikes from Eli Davidson, Jake Tsunomoto on third, Hudson Flora manning shortstop, Dylan Souza on second, Aiden Foley playing first base, and left to right in the outfield, Cade Robertson, George Schmidt, and Grant Henninger. Those are your starting lineups brought to you by Vogel Law Firm. Our first look at Eli Davidson on the mound. Ryan Cooney got the start yesterday. Didn't have to work particularly hard, but still got the job done. 3 innings, only allowed 1 hit and 1 earned run. Struck out 3, and maybe the thing that stood out the most in a game where you couldn't help but be drawn to Tri-Valley's offense, no walks, because at this level, a few walks a game are generally a given.
Yeah, Cooney was the only pitcher in that game to not have a single walk, and that's uncommon. Even the guys who have gone complete game shutout and really dominant haven't had no walks in a ball game.
So it'll be Ian Scarry to lead things off. Brody Medina and Austin Olean will follow him in the top 3 for West Fargo to lead things off. A Rattlers team that fell 3-0 to Tallahassee yesterday, only had 4 hits and had 3 errors. They were sharp defensively in the top of the first inning, and now here they come with the bats. First pitch from Davidson, in there for a strike. Outside on a ball, Scarry pulled back.
Scarry got it back in time, doing the exact same thing Hudson Flora was doing. You get in there, you bring it back no matter what. You get a closer look at your opposing pitcher, and you just get in the defense's head a little bit.
1-0 in there to even the count. So Scarry 1 for 3 yesterday, and guy you want in the leadoff spot. Head coach Phil Medina said this is the guy who sets the tone for them. And it mostly just has to do with the way he plays. A hard-nosed kid. Case and point, leadoff single.
Great start. Scarry's played well. Comfortable in North Dakota, clearly so. Drops it into left field, and West Fargo quickly in business.
Brody Medina will follow him up. Medina 0 for 3 in the loss yesterday. Quick throw back to first. A lot of pitchers going for that pickoff move. Something to keep in mind, we've seen 4 balks called in this tournament, including 1 in each game today. So the umpires have been taking a really close look.
You know that message has already been relayed to both of these 2 teams from their coaches.
And now potential for Scarry in a rundown. Instead, he gets the second.
Caught the defense unawares there. You get lulled to sleep by those constant pickoff moves. You think, oh, he's going to go back again, whatever. And Scarry plays this exactly right. Ian knows he's going to come over, so the second he sees that move, he says, bye, swipes 2.
So Scarry gets second, and now West Fargo, who was shut out yesterday, a runner in scoring position here in the first. Medina still waiting on that first pitch. In there for called strike 1. Medina hitting a strong .469 this season. 0-1 and a late time.
Asked for it and got it. So far, West Fargo is punishing Tri-Valley for taking too much time. Too many pickoff attempts, too long on the hill. It's very early, but they can have a cumulative mental effect.
Rattlers doing what they can to set the tone here against the Tri-Valley team that stood out the most on day one. 0-1. And now behind 0-2 is Medina.
And if Davidson wants to keep this game scoreless, he's going to have to pull out a whole bunch of tricks. Runner on second with no outs. The odds certainly in favor of West Fargo, pushing at least one across.
Big wave and the first K of the day for Davidson.
Well, if you want to keep it scoreless, that's a great start. No movement on the base paths, keeping Scary at second. Now you go against Olin.
So Austin Olin, 1 for 3 yesterday. The only 3 hits for West Fargo came in the first 4 of the order. Ian Scary, who's on base now with that leadoff single, Olin, and then Cooper Fuchs, who's on deck, was 1 for 3 yesterday as well. After that, no hits for West Fargo. I beg your pardon, 4 hits yesterday, 3 that are starting in the lineup today. One out to Olin in there. And so Davidson facing his first lefty today.
And Eli very deliberate to the plate. Completely opposite tempo of what we saw in game 2 from the Tallahassee pitching staff, but both can be equally effective.
1-1, man still on second. Pitch gets away from Manicki, and now with just 1 out, it's Scary over to third.
Now a real chance for the North Dakota State champs. A ball to the outfield would score Scary and put Tri-Valley down for the first time.
Tri-Valley gave up an early run yesterday, trailed 1-0, and well, they quickly rectified that.
Yep.
See if West Fargo can do the same here. Olin battling in there. And it was one of our Evans-High Senior Living keys to the game was, could West Fargo just move base runners? Even if they weren't always frequent, could they play enough small ball? Right now they're doing it. Can they bring home Scary? Not that time. Back-to-back strikeouts for Eli Davidson.
And now Davidson can just put Scary out of his mind. After that single and some productive base running, it's all up to Fuchs.
Fuchs 1 for 3 yesterday. Pitch gets away from Manicki. Here comes Scary, no problem. The North Dakota State champs strike first.
Davidson was doing well, but just missed his release point there. No chance behind the plate to save it. That was going to be a Scary run the second that pitch left his hand.
A single to get on, a stolen base to get second, and a pair of wild pitches, and that is how we get our first run of the game. Now the base path's clear, and it's 2 balls and no strikes to Fuchs. In there for strike 1. So Bioni on deck if Fuchs can find a way to get on base. Already a strong start for West Fargo, getting their first run of the tournament. Head coach Phil Medina confident that yesterday was not his team's best. He said, overall, we know we can hit up and down the order. That's one of our big strengths. And when we get on the base paths, we're dangerous. Well, here's an opportunity. Fuchs picks up a walk.
17 pitches for Eli Davidson in the first inning and still working his way out of it. Not how Tri-Valley was hoping this would go. With all the momentum in the world, it has been pretty suddenly halted. Now, the good news for the Pacific Southwest champions is they don't take a lot to get going again.
Aiden Bioni up at the plate now. Quick throw to first. And yeah, this is a West Fargo team. Shut out yesterday, but won the North Dakota State tournament, and Medina was really happy with how they hit the ball. 9 runs per game through that tournament, and maybe even more impressive, only 2 per game allowed. They never had to gain a lead back once they went up. So a team that knows how to hold on to a lead, but this will be one of their more difficult challenges of the season, going against this explosive, exciting Tri-Valley attack. It's 0-1 to Bioni with Fuchs on first. Too far inside, 1-1. Bioni, good contact, lifted into center. George Schmidt there for the third out. Rattlers score the first run of the game. They lead 1-0. Valley up to bat for the second time today. I'll tell you what, they took a little while to get going yesterday before that big third inning, but defensively, you gotta be thrilled if you're West Fargo. A 1-2-3 first inning.
Yeah, West Fargo's played great, and if you're Tri-Valley, you're saying, hey, this is the same thing that happened yesterday. We got them right where we want them, but so far so good. Austin Oline impressing in that first inning. 12 pitches, never a real threat off of the bat. He's got to try and keep that rolling.
Young fans making sure they hydrate here at Ardeen Offutt Stadium. Hot day, like we said, about 97 degrees or so right now as the kids from Cali come back up to bat. It'll be 4, 5, 6, George Schmidt, Mateo Minetti, and Cade Robertson up to bat. And normally this is the part of the broadcast where I tell you it's the heart of the order, so it's going to be good. But frankly, the way Tri-Valley hit yesterday, could say anywhere in the lineup, and that it would be a dangerous time.
No doubt about it. Anytime, anywhere, any place.
Schmidt, first pitch in there for a strike. You sound like you were challenging someone to a fight. Anytime,
no.
Anywhere,
No.
you want it, come get it.
No, I will challenge you to a battle of wits with rhetorical arguments. I don't want to get into a fist fight because I will get killed.
0-1 and takes a piece of Schmidt. Hit by pitch, no fight ensues, and Schmidt takes first.
Breaking ball didn't start quite far enough. It's the right idea. You'd like to bend that towards the guy and then back into the zone, but starting location a little bit too far close to Schmidt and gets plunked as a result.
Mateo Minetti strong yesterday, 2 for 3 with an RBI. The leadoff man hit by a pitch. High and outside, Minetti sits on it. The 1-0, good frame job from Nordic. And counts even at 1 ball and 1 strike.
That's been a consistently impressive thing for these youngsters. Normally it's a skill that comes later on in the baseball timeline, but man, these guys have been dragging that glove with style.
Cracked into right, and it's fair. Schmidt's going for third. The slide, no problem. Runners on the corners. First hit of the day. Arguably not the last for Tri-Valley.
Yeah, It is an offense that doesn't take a whole lot. That's well struck, dropped right in front of the line, exactly where it needs to be, and heads up base running by George Schmidt to take third relatively easily. First pressure on Austin O'Lean here in the World Series.
This is all it takes. Tri Valley does not need much to get going. No outs, runners on first and third. Cade Robertson up at the plate, 1 for 2 and an RBI yesterday. Runners go, thrown out of third. Runner is safe, but you like the high IQ play from Nordic.
Yeah, we saw it yesterday where you send that runner to second, you're trying to bait the throw, and you're hoping that the guy on third is ready to go forwards, not backwards. But Schmidt, with great reactions, gets back quickly, and that's an easy swipe on the backside for Minetti.
So now 2 in scoring position, 0-1 to Robertson. Sliced up the middle. 2 coming around. Throw home, not there, and it leads to an extra base for Robertson. A 2 RBI single to start things off for Tri Valley.
Just put it up the middle, give your guys a chance, and with their team speed, they're going to take advantage real quickly. Well, something we knew we'd say at some point. Here comes Tri Valley.
The question is just how do you limit it, right? Because you don't even have that first out. And again, you know Tri Valley's going to get something going, but of course, and I don't know how many 16-run innings we're going to see, but can you make sure that something that normally would be 7 or 8,
right,
can you keep it down to 2 or 3?
That's going to be the goal for Austin O'Lean and West Fargo right now. On the other side, we saw a runner on and the escape plan to get up from no outs to 3 outs, but it's a tough, tough task.
So now it'll be Aiden Foley in the 7th spot. Foley 1 out of 2 yesterday. It just seems like we keep going down the scorecard, and everybody on nearly who's starting today found a way to get on base or get a hit yesterday. In the dirt, 2 balls and no strikes. Look back to second. O'Lean doing his best to keep Robertson honest, and that'll be another big part of this game. If they can, the hits are one thing, but if you can at least keep these base runners there,
yeah,
and limit the extra stolen bases, that'll be a big factor for West Fargo.
Make them earn it. Tri Valley can, though.
Foley, chopper up the middle, grabbed by Bioni. Throw was a little high. Betker was off the bag.
That demanded a lot from Aiden Bioni. That's pretty up the middle. He does a nice job going to the backhand, turns, fires. He's got to be quick, but also get power. It's a thin line. Take a look at it frame by frame. Another bang-bang play here at the World Series. And it looks like his foot hasn't quite come down there. Those are the plays that umpires are going to be on, and looks like the right call.
So now back to runners on first and third with Tsunomoto at the plate. Jake Tsunomoto, 1 for 3, an RBI yesterday. And you love the confidence. He sort of steps out and shakes his head. It seems like as if to say, okay, I got it now. I needed to see a pitch or two, and now I kind of know what I want to do with this at-bat. 1-0. Run down over at second, and again, smart base running, and you hate to see the second base swiped, but at the same time, you keep the runner on third.
And that time, that was just more of a great reaction from Foley. He sees that pickoff attempt coming. He goes, listen, by the time they throw to first and then throw to second, I'm going to be standing over there. And so he just takes off right away. We saw that on the other side, too.
A little high, and it's 2 balls and no strikes.
Yesterday, it was 2 innings, and then Tri Valley got going. But now that they're warmed up and loose, might be even quicker today. Far from out of reach, though, if you're West Fargo.
Tri Valley, the opening game yesterday and game 3 today. Trouble for Medina. does get the out, but another run comes home in Cade Robertson.
Oh, that's such a good job by Brody Medina here. Did a really nice job fielding his position yesterday from the pitcher spot. Had a couple of errors. That one eats him up. It'd be so easy for a 14-year-old to say, man, here we go again. We're having a tough inning, and just give up on the play. But he sticks with it, throws over. Really nice job by Medina. And even as the run scores, you got that huge first out to try and stem the tide.
Yeah, mentally, when things are going south, sometimes you get that first out on the board and you can just take a big sigh of relief. It's now the 9-man with Eli Davidson. Tri-Valley batting 10 because clearly they need the help.
Yeah.
It'll be Davidson at 9 and then R.J. Manicki at 10. Foley on third, 1-0. Base hit, another run comes in. Tri-Valley hasn't lost a step.
Yeah, 4 spot. Back-to-back RBI swings from Tsunemoto and Davidson. Eli Davidson helps his own cause.
Four base hits this inning now.
Yep.
Foley coming home on that one, and now rounding things out is R.J. Manicki, and then it'll be back to the top of the order. So everybody who's come up here in the second inning has either gotten on base, the one exception being Jake Tsunemoto, who had that RBI ground out. So the only sort of unproductive, if you will, top part of the order was that top 3,
right,
who's now seen the rest of the offense click and seen Austin O'Lean work a little bit.
Yeah, and they're going to get their chance coming up here. Barring a well-placed ground ball from a West Fargo standpoint. You never know where that spark's going to come from. George Schmidt getting plunked ignited the offense. It's been all speed ahead since.
So 0-2 to Manicki. O'Lean, who had that great 1-2-3 inning, trying to stop the bleeding here at 4. 0-2. Nordic trying to catch the runner, and they can't. Davidson makes his way to second.
4 stolen bases, and we're in the top of the second inning. Tri-Valley has the aggression cranked to 11, and when you have the type of speed they do, these are lower risk plays. They're moving.
1-2. Big pitch upcoming. O'Lean misses outside. The home plate umpire signaled that it was a strike, if I'm not mistaken. A little confusion, and he picks up the K.
All right.
Not the most emphatic strikeout call you'll ever see, but it's a big one for West Fargo.
No doubt, needed it. Managed to get RJ down and bring out the top of the order. Yeah, just a strike call, and I suppose when you signal strike instead of strike out, kind of lull everyone to sleep. But yeah, that was strike 3.
Well, he signaled the count was 2-2, so just a mistimed count there. No doubter here, and now it's 0-1 against Hudson Flora. 0 for 1, flew out in the first, seeing if they can improve on what's already been a strong second frame. The chance from the Pacific Southwest. Dazzled us with 16 runs in 1 inning yesterday. 4 here today in the second. Flora facing an end to the run potentially in an 0-2 count. Outside. Good adjustment by Nordic. O'Lean, chance to end the frame, 1-2. Slithers to Bioni and makes the play for the out, but Tri-Valley offense pops up here in the second inning to score 4. Scored in the top of the second inning. Tri-Valley gets going with a hit by pitch for George Schmidt, and then from there, they were rolling like yesterday.
Yeah, right back at it. Got going even faster this time. West Fargo did what they could, stuck with it, made the plays to relatively limit the damage, and now if you're the Rattlers, you just got to tell yourself, all right, that was their big inning, now they're done. So we're going to just begin this comeback mode and keep going, and if you're Tri-Valley, you say, well, we're 3 outs away from getting to do it again.
Cade Robertson with 2 RBI single, Jake Tsunemoto with an RBI ground out, and Eli Davidson with an RBI single. And now West Fargo's turn. They were able to score one themselves in the bottom of the first, trying to see what they can do as Eli Davidson, who just had that RBI single, as we mentioned, heads back to the mound to take on Noah Betker. It's 6, 7, and 8 in the lineup up for West Fargo. One-0, gas right down the middle.
Eli Davidson now all of a sudden gets a chance to pitch with the lead.
A good performance yesterday on the mound from Ryan Cooney. This time Davidson forces the ground out. Great play from Tsunemoto on third.
So already you can see the increased confidence for Davidson, and it works out. Getting a ground ball, letting your defense do their thing. Jake Tsunemoto gobbles it up, sends it away.
Yeah, not a Tri-Valley team who's had to play a ton from behind throughout the postseason. 1-0 yesterday and 1-0 today, but that was very short-lived. Jackson Narum now up at the plate. Cracked on, easy play for Flora. Right place, right time.
Certainly making it look easy. I wouldn't say it is, but left side, Adam sees it the whole way, glove up, sits right there. That's how you play the left side of the infield.
So quickly 2 up and 2 down. It's a West Fargo team that's had an interesting journey. Said they knew kind of coming in that they had a target on their backs from the state of North Dakota. That is because, frankly, they knew they were talented. He said that we expected to get to the state championship game at least, and they've embraced that. 25-11 this season, and so much different for these teams, going from the hunted to the hunter. Right now it's 3 up and 3 down. Tri-Valley, the hunters, and they're playing well. Top 3, Tri-Valley over West Fargo, 4-1 currently, and Tri-Valley coming back up to the plate as we get this third inning started. With Corey Brooks, David Sugarman here, game 3 of 4 today. Stick around, we'll have the host Williston taking on King Philip, and that should be a lot of fun again. Williston lost last night 9-4 against Fargo, but rode that energy early on, and that was a closer game than the scoreboard would say. 4-4, and then one really rough inning with 6 errors for Williston cost them, but that was a pretty competitive game.
No doubt. They fought well, and in its way, it's kind of a simple message. Easier said than done for the host team, but they know that if they clean up their defense, they right in that game might have even won it. So they're going to do the same thing, but the problem is they're going to go up against a Norfolk Mass team that likes to put pressure on an opposing defense. They're going to have to elevate their game even more so.
2, 3, and 4 up. It starts with Dylan Souza. Souza grounded out in the first, so the top three in the order haven't done much yet for Tri-Valley, but 4 through 10 is the sweet spot that had that big 4-run inning in the second. A 1, foul and out of play. Slight breeze now here at Ardeen Offit. Little inward, but going slightly right to left. It'll be Souza, Henninger, and George Schmidt up to bat. 0-2, ripped and goes foul. Souza came back to the plate after that one. I think he thought that was going fair all the way.
He was ready, and let's face it, Tri-Valley hasn't had much go against him, so you hit it down that way, you think, yeah, it's going to be fair, and maybe turn into a double. Not just yet.
Still 0-2. Souza fighting to keep the at-bat alive. And this is why. Tough play. Medina. Throw not in time. A lot of flash on this Tri-Valley team, but sometimes you just got to grind it out.
Yeah, the wheel's important here. No one does anything wrong on this. It's just a slow roller. Medina gets to it, picks it up, throws in rhythm, but by a step and a half there.
And that brings up Grant Henninger, who we touched on, 0-for-1 today, but he was the one that really got the floodgates open yesterday. 4 RBIs and got things going with a 3 RBI hit in that game. That time made it 4-1 and got things going in a stolen base for Souza. The speed of this Tri-Valley team, that is already the 4th stolen base. Big lead off a second for Souza. And O'Lean, well aware, steps off the mound. Henninger, contact. Here comes Souza. The throw home. Souza slides, and it's an extra base for Henninger, his 5th RBI in the last 2 days.
Yeah, managed to get him to ground out in the first. This time he goes down, plucks that thing, and sends it back to center field. That's textbook hitting right there from Grant Henninger. Well done. And now Austin O'Lean has to go into comeback mode again here. Still a threat with Henninger at second.
And now this is where the trouble started in the second. George Schmidt, he got clunked. A hit by pitch, ended up coming around to score, was the first of 4 in that frame. West Fargo, a team that has played so well down the stretch of the season, the North Dakota State champs, find themselves in a jam. And O'Lean well aware with how good Tri-Valley has been on the base paths. It's Henninger on second. One 0 to Schmidt. O'Lean delivers in the dirt. Excellent block from Nordic. Schmidt waiting for his pitch, and he can be patient now. 3 balls and no strikes.
No walks yet for Austin O'Lean, but George Schmidt trying to change that in a hurry. Looking for his second free pass today after he got plunked in the second.
nursing a 5-1 lead. No outs, looking for more. And a walk, so Schmidt hit by a pitch in the second, and now we'll take a walk here in the third.
The classic 0 ABs, 2 times on base for George Schmidt.
Always good for an on-base percentage.
A good day at the office.
And now it's Matteo Minetti. Had the first hit of the day, and there's going to be a discussion on the mound with Olean as West Fargo finds themselves in a little bit of trouble here.
5 straight balls for Austin Olean, so they're going to try and just rectify the mechanics here, get him back right. He's shown the ability. He executed perfectly in the first, sent Tri-Valley down 1-2-3 on a fly out and a couple of ground outs. So the potential is there, but you have to try and prevent anything from cascading on you.
How do you attempt to pitch against a team like Tri-Valley, because obviously they have so many different weapons, and also if you try to pitch around a team, especially at this level, that's usually what ends up leading to walks and miscues.
Right. Yeah, you can't really pitch around them, only because the second you try and really touch the black like that, you're probably going to miss, and you're going to miss in a spot you don't want. So you intentionally throw strikes, but you do so deliberately and with purpose, constantly varying your speed, trying to use movement as much as you can. But listen, sometimes when an offense is locked in and they're seeing a beach ball out there, there isn't a great deal you can do. It's just one of those things.
Well, the California kids have had a day at the beach the last couple of days. 16 runs yesterday, 4 in the last inning, already got 1 more, no outs. Runners on first and second. Minetti, who had a single and came around to score his last time up, was 2 for 3 yesterday, so off to a good start in this tournament. Minetti locked and loaded. Crushed into left, over the head of Medina. 1 run will score, and it's now 6-1 Tri-Valley.
Everything's working, and again, that's not even a bad pitch. He just goes down and gets barrel to baseball. Matteo Minetti off to a good start, and Tri-Valley continuing their start. This is their inning. For whatever it's worth, the third yesterday was where they ended the game, literally.
Only 14 runs away from that, so still a little ways to go, but to be fair, I don't know that we expected 16 yesterday either.
It's true.
Now it's Cade Robertson at a 2 RBI single his last time up. Also hitting well so far, 2 for 3 in this tournament. Nordic keeps it in front. However, Minetti still takes second.
And Minetti was taken off before that even hit the dirt, so it goes down as a stolen base. Another. Five stolen bases. Minetti's got 2 of them.
Seven hits already. Robertson looking for 8, fouls this one away. So it's Robertson, Foley, and Tsunemoto. Robertson, who had a 2 RBI single. Foley, who had a single and scored. And then Tsunemoto, who had an RBI ground out. So this was the part of the lineup that did real damage in that second inning. And they continue to do so. Robertson drives in 1, maybe 2. Yes, sir, 2 RBI single. Cade Robertson having himself a day.
4 runs batted in 2 swings of the bat. That's the best we've seen in this tournament. Cade Robertson, phenomenal showing here for Tri-Valley.
Thank you, Tri-Valley.
4 runs in the second, now 4 runs here in the third. Still no outs. This Tri-Valley team has blown us away the first couple of days offensively. Foley, first pitch is high. So 16 runs yesterday, halfway there right now. Foley launches it high into left, and Naro makes the play.
Needed that. Just get that first out. Now Austin Oline gets to kind of breathe a sigh of relief, say, all right, that happened. It's gotten away, but now you almost start over here. Don't worry too much about Robertson at first. You got your out, so it's like it's the top of the first. One out, one on.
And with one out and one on, it's Jake Tsunemoto. 1 for 3 in the RBI yesterday, an RBI ground out in the second. Oline trying to pepper the zone outside, throw down to second, and it took a bounce off the mound. Heads up play by Scary to quickly come get it. And Robertson takes second.
Another swipe. That's pretty on brand at this point. And listen, it's only the third inning, so you're not going to dial down your aggression by any means.
If anything, at 8-1, you're starting to think about, hey, if we can keep this going and find a way to, end the game early, not quite need that 15 threshold yet, but certainly 10 in 5 innings is a possibility right now. You try Valley, you do what you can to get out of here and get some extra rest. It's a long few days.
Yeah, it's in the back of their minds for sure.
3 balls and no strikes, and a walk for Tsunemoto.
Tri-Valley gets after it again tomorrow against Puyallup. Puyallup had a tough day hitting the baseball today against Tallahassee, so it's really going to be a tale of 2 offenses. But the good news for the kids from Washington is, hey, it all counts the same, 0-1, so they'll get after it, and now looks like West Fargo's going to make a pitching change.
Frustration on the mound for Austin Oline. We'll take a quick break. 1 is the score here at Ardeen Offit Stadium, and the day on the bump over for Austin Oline. It'll be Jack Josephson replacing him. Hasn't pitched a ton this year, but 4.1 ERA. Does have 20 strikeouts to 8 walks. So Josephson on the mound comes in a difficult spot, 8-1. I know you know the score, but at this point, do you just not really quite look at the scoreboard and just try and come in and establish a new tone?
Absolutely, and especially if you're Josephson, you go 20-8 in terms of strikeouts to walk. You have good explosive stuff. It's probably the best of the golden ratio you'll find on this West Fargo team. It's in limited innings, sure, but anytime you're doubling up, you're doing a lot of things right. Now, the problem is that this is the best offense you've faced all year, so you have to just do what you can, take it pitch by pitch. There's no deep secret ability to it.
Eli Davidson, who had an RBI single in that 4-run second, trying to improve on this already stellar 4-run third. Take strike 1. It's Tsunemoto on first, Robertson on second. Robertson, man, the catalyst so far today with 4 RBIs already.
Austin Oline goes a little over 50 pitches, so he gets a mandated off day tomorrow and is eligible a couple days from now for the Rattlers.
Ripped foul down the third base side, and what a snag. That was head coach Andrew Craybill. Barehanded.
Guys have
and
been
acting
around the
like
game
it was
a while.
nothing.
Yeah.
I guess that's the coolest way to do it, is
Of
act
course.
like you've been there before. Harder for those of us who haven't. Fuchs picks up the runner at second and gets the second out.
Doesn't try and go for the tag, wants to make the play in the air in a relative rhythm, and you understand that. At this level, rhythm has a lot of value, so he gets up, and he's like, I don't want to go out of my way, certainly miss the tag. Let me just trust myself, make this throw I've made countless times, and pick up a sure out on the play.
Yeah, and in an inning where the outs have been a little bit harder to come by, you're just trying to get whatever you feel most confident, yes?
Absolutely.
So it's R.J. Manicki now at the plate. 2 outs, runners on the corners, trying to make it second and third. Instead, it plunks Manicki. And so no stolen base for Davidson, and the base is loaded.
Tried to get out of the way, but there was no evading that. was destined to make contact with his leg. It does just that, and now Hudson Flora comes up. If Flora gets on, Tri-Valley will have batted around in the third inning 2 straight days.
Third inning, 3 is in fact a magic number.
Seems that way. Third inning, 3 on.
Flora 0 for 2 so far today, but his third trip up. 2 balls and no strikes. Josephson misses outside. Good patience and a good eye from Flora. As good as the bats have been, this is a disciplined team in their approach.
And they'll trust Flora, but most likely this is a red light spot here. You can almost put that bat down. See if you can't walk in a run.
And not that pitch, able to kiss the high part of the zone.
Still puts Flora in a really good hitter's count. Josephson has to bend, put one in the strike zone. That could be the launching pad.
3-1, and a run does indeed walk in. It'll be Cade Robertson. 4 RBIs and 2 runs. Not a bad day for the left fielder.
No, not at all. Flora gets his first RBI of the tournament. Not always easy to get those from the leadoff spot, but that time he does well in the run scoring chance, and now Souza still gets to hit with the bases juiced.
So Souza's second time up this inning. Souza led things off with a single, and things have percolated well since. Ball trickles away from Nordic harmlessly. So 1-1, Souza up, who has a single, and 2 outs on the board, but after that it's Henninger, who had an RBI single, Schmidt, who got on with a walk, and Matteo Minetti, who got on with a walk and scored. Nordic doing a nice job trying to make sure the runner from third doesn't get in on his account.
There was a couple of nice power slides there from Kaizen Nordic. It'd be easy to let those go at this point in a ball game. He's still showcasing the skill.
Nordic doing it again. Unfortunately, is a 3-1 count.
Got Florida 3-1, eventually walked in the run. Souza has the same chance. You know Henninger wants to hit with the bases loaded.
Outside, back-to-back walks with the bases loaded, so back-to-back easy runs. As this big inning continues, now 6 runs on the board, last 2 coming with a couple outs.
And so now Henninger does get the chance. Bases full. Grant's our RBI leader in this tournament, tied with his teammate Cade Robertson. They each have 5.
Henninger lifts it foul. So Eli Davidson on that last run, and it's now R.J. Manicki on third, Hudson Flora on second, Souza on first, and Henninger, who has been dangerous with the bat in his hands, going foul, and tracking it down is Cooper Fuchs, and ends an inning that was a big one for Tri-Valley. 6 more, they cracked beautiful Williston, North Dakota. And right now, Tri-Valley visitors, but they're not playing like it. They look plenty comfortable as we go to the bottom of the third, and they are holding on to a 10-1 lead.
Yeah, they're right at home. They have got their hotel set up. They're looking to stay a little while here in Boomtown, North Dakota. Up 9, and they're trying to go 2-0 in pool play. That would tie them with Tallahassee.
Just to give you an idea of how good their offense has been, the last 2 games, they only had to play 3.5 innings worth of baseball yesterday, 3 so far today. 26 runs in those last couple of games. So just an incredible amount of offense. They get all the way around in the third, and the third inning seems to be the magic one. Yesterday it was 16 runs. Today didn't quite get that out of hand, but 6, including a couple with 2 outs.
New pitcher here for the team up 10-1. Davidson only went 27 pitches, so instead of bringing him up to that 45 and forcing a day of rest, they're just going to let him hang out and take a break.
It is Christian Morales who is taking over on the hill, and you got to imagine the philosophy for head coach Andrew Grable is at 10-1, we're feeling pretty confident that we can close this out. Let's try and get arms rest.
Yep.
In the meantime, West Fargo starts things off with Kaysen Nordic. Nordic hitting .326 this season. Does have also 21 RBIs. It'll be Nordic to round things out. Good
Scary in West Fargo, you almost have to just say, of course, he made that catch. Going backwards, initially steps in, then realizes, oh, that's got some carry on it. Wind's not knocking it down, but still right in the breadbasket. Really, really nice play from George Schmidt. Execution in every single phase of a baseball game right now for the team out of California.
Yeah, of course the offense is what pops off the page for you, but let's not forget, they only gave up 1 run yesterday. They've only given up 1 run today. That leadoff single, and since then, 5 straight retired. Hoping that Brody Medina is the 6th.
We knew coming out of regionals that this Tri-Valley team was going to pose some real challenges here at the World Series. They went 2 up against a Honolulu team that was really strong. A lot of people thought they would be the ones here. First game there in a 2-game set, this team won 10-0. They controlled the second game as well. They really handled the Torrance team. Torrance was the California team here at Ardine Offutt Stadium in 2016. So top to bottom, just impressive results.
3-1 against Medina, and you got to remember too, that second game was awfully close, 6-5. So while we're seeing them dominate now, this team does know how to win and compete in close games. Medina onto the grass. Souza calling his teammates off. 3 up, 3 down, 7 straight retired. Tri-Valley coming back up to bat next. 6 runs and batting all the way around in the third. 3 has been the magic number for Tri-Valley the last couple days.
Yeah, they love the third inning. They got to get a little warmed up, you know. Normally it's a little cooler here in North Dakota than it is in Southern California, but it's been just as hot. They've been ready to go, pretty much from the word go. Bryce Mattern's going to get his turn, the new pitcher here for the West Fargo Rattlers.
So Mattern coming in from right field, placing Jack Josephson. And it'll be 4, 5, and 6. George Schmidt, Mateo Minetti, and Cade Robertson all got on base. All came around to score in the third. With Corey Brooks, David Sugarman on hand. Game 3 of 4. The nightcap should be a fun one. The hosts, Williston, going to be back at it for the second straight evening. They'll take on the guys from the New England region, King Philip Norfolk. Refuse to lose. Hopefully the motto for all of these teams this week. Right now, West Fargo struggling, hoping to avoid going 0-2. Things not going swimmingly right now. Tri-Valley hoping to finish things off and get off to a 2-0 start here in pool play, which will be through Wednesday evening. Rip foul by Schmidt. So Bryce Mattern, a 3.4 ERA, 16 walks, does have 4 strikeouts so far this season, and a guy that you love just the way that he plays, whether he's in the field, on the hill, or with the bat in his hands. Head coach Phil Medina said, yeah, he's only 5'2". He plays about 6'5". This guy who just wants the ball, he wants the bat, he just wants to be in situations where he can make a big play. This time he gives up a base hit, a great twirl and try from Medina. Instead, it's a leadoff single for Schmidt.
Right back where they left off. Up the middle enough. Again, like you said, outstanding range, but these guys just have too much speed down the line for that type of play to be anything but a single.
Extra hit number 13, Mateo Benetti.
Schmidt looking for second, throw is high and into center field. So the base running continues to be just as impressive as the hitting. And now Minetti, who had a single today, 2 singles today and an RBI yesterday, with a great chance here for more. 4 out of 5 with 2 RBIs so far through the last couple of days.
By the way, it's Cash Gilseth taking over in right field as Mattern came from the 9 spot all the way up to the 1, the new pitcher.
So Gilseth out and right as Mattern tries to make something happen on the mound. 0-2 in the dirt.
So as this trends towards a Tri-Valley victory, that would make them in Tallahassee 2-0 in the National Division. So the fated matchup between the two teams that have stood out on the national side, it's the very last day of pool play.
And it'll be interesting to watch as Crabo makes another good play there in the field. These different teams, some who are going to be, fighting for a top seed and to secure their spot earlier on, versus other teams like a West Fargo in a case like this. Tonight, certainly Williston in a tricky scenario. Who's going to be fighting off 0-2? It won't be Tri-Valley at this rate. Minetti with a deep double rolling near the wall, and it's a 10-run lead.
So that activates the 10-run rule. As of right now, this is a 5-inning ball game. And if you're West Fargo, first things first, you need to get out of this inning. But after that, your objective goes from any type of comeback thought to let's just score 1, or whatever it takes to get to the 10.
So Minetti, 3 for 3, now a double and an RBI. And batting for Cade Robertson, it will be Brennan Baptist getting a chance.
Pitcher yesterday, hitter today.
I believe it was, yeah.
That is, oh, I see. We're going for a Cupid Katniss Everdeen look there with the bow and arrow.
Pretty sure it's a Fernando Rodney thing in baseball, you guys.
What would be your go-to celebration if you were
That's
one?
actually, I got to tell you, that's a fan favorite right there.
That's the one?
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Reach way back. You didn't really point it up to the sky. Send it more towards his own dugout. You don't want to do that, but let it rip. Get a power shot off.
The way he's hitting, he's going to have a chance to rectify that later in the tournament.
I'm quite sure. I think everyone on this team is going to get a chance to celebrate one way or another. There's a Miami guy, my other one. I wouldn't use it in baseball, but basketball or football, that LeBron James kind of push down.
Yes.
He does. Big fan.
That became big across all sports. Everybody, of course, it's LeBron, but everybody wanted to mimic that there for a while, just sort of across the world.
Yep.
Just businessmen coming out of boardrooms doing the big push down.
Yep.
And hey, everybody should celebrate their victories.
Yeah.
We can't all dunk. Outside, full count for Baptist.
Guy who can't dunk. Everybody emulates Steph Curry.
Sure, a lot of Steph Curry fans from these players.
Yeah, certainly the California kids.
Payoff. Baptist just gets it by Bioni. Runners on first and third. Minetti held up.
First hit of the tournament for Brennan Baptist. So he comes in, holds things down yesterday. Now on the other end, just as effective. That's the third hit for that spot. Robertson had 2 hits. Now Baptist adds a third. That 6 has been money.
For Tri Valley, first baseman number 24, Foley.
So now Aiden Foley, 1 for 2 so far today. Signal back in the second, a fly out to left in the third, and Foley gets a piece of it. Oh, 1 nearly took a piece. There was a weird bend to that pitch.
It was coming in. That cutting action winds up towards the left-handers. Good job to get out of the way.
Matter sets up shop for 1-1. So Foley 1 for 2 yesterday, 1 for 2 so far today. Just the theme of this Tri-Valley team, not a weak spot in this lineup. 2-1. And 2-2, what a snag! A fan took off his hat, popped it right in there. Yes, take a bow, sir. Meet our player of the game, this guy.
Oh, there it is.
Brought to you by Farmers Union Oil Company and CHS Nutrition. Always got to pay the bills. Matter just misses for a full count. Talked about some web gems earlier in the day. That's one of the best.
That might be the top one.
He knew it to take off the lid. Payoff, Foley. Just foul. And I'll tell you the other thing about a play like that. He could have made an attempt with his hands, and if you don't get it, you don't get it, and that's okay. You take off the hat, that takes some gusto. You're going to get a few jeers if that doesn't work out for you.
Yep. That's a high-risk play, that's for sure.
There he is. Cool customer. Another addition to the payoff. Nobody quite as lucky that time.
Well, you know everyone in that section now is ready, waiting for their chance.
Everyone feeling a little inferior over there.
Yeah, we got to do something to make up for it.
John Q. Awesome up there showed us all up. Foley battling here. Runners on first and third. Already a 10-run lead, and the base is now loaded. So base is loaded, and instead of Jake Tsunomoto, it'll be a pinch hitter and Ryan Cooney, who excellently pitched yesterday through 3 innings, only gave up the 1 hit and struck out 3. Now he's going to have a chance at the plate.
One for one yesterday from the plate. Scored a couple of times. Walking a stolen base.
Oh, 2. Good curve from Mattern as West Fargo still searching for that first out. 0-2. Misses high. In there for a called strike 3, and Bryce Mattern puts up a K and gives the West Fargo faithful something to feel good about.
Yeah, he gets his first out there, first strikeout. Nice breaking ball. He'll feel good about that. Just string together pitches at this point. Results are whatever they are.
Now batting for Tri-Valley, number 5, Christian Morales.
And so instead of R.J. Manicki, who had been hit by a pitch in his last at-bat, it'll be Christian Morales replacing him. So a couple of new Tri-Valley bats getting some run here in the fourth.
Morales, the new pitcher, holding down the pitcher spot, formerly occupied by Eli Davidson. And, well, it's been a good spot. RBI, single, fielder's choice that eventually ended in a run.
Everything working right now.
Yep. Still does. That's another run.
So that is the third run that's come in because of a walk. And so loading up the bases, doing their job, and then getting a little bit of help. And that'll be Cade.
Batting for Tri-Valley, 12, Anthony Louie.
Anthony Louie coming into the game.
Anthony Louie, originally number 11, going up one, wearing number 12 in this ball game.
One out, good contact, scoop by Medina, looking for two. Betker unable to make the play, allows another run to come in. And four more. So while all the offense came in the third yesterday for Tri-Valley, today spreading out the love after none in the first 4, 6, and 4.
It's a good play to get the first, and double plays are far from guaranteed. Throw a little bit wide, and you know the base running of Tri-Valley is going to put them in a good spot. With Flora in the box, probably bears mentioning that he represents the game-shortening run part 2. If he crosses, the bottom of the fourth becomes must score for West Fargo.
There are 2 outs on the board. See if West Fargo can extend this game a little longer. Took that 1-0 lead in the first. Since then, it has been all Tri-Valley. Chance to end the frame. Cooper Fuchs with the toss. The Snack Shack, lots of people here for all 4 games today. Long day here at Ardeen Offutt Stadium. And another big game for Tri-Valley. 30 runs in the last couple days. Smile, you are on a security camera. Well, certainly if you're a Tri-Valley fan, you are smiling.
Well, you're on a bet camera now.
Right now. 14-1 for Tri-Valley. All right, see, it's hard to give many notes for Tri-Valley right now. The big question is, how do they keep this going over the next couple of days?
Yeah, it's a good approach. You know, they're waiting for their pitch. They don't have to wait long. They've had this tremendous plate coverage throughout this tournament. A lot of those were really good pitches early on from Austin Olean. They were low, and they were just going down and grabbing them. And they have certainly refused to lose here. They haven't left much doubt. The third inning of each of their first 2 games is all but rubber stamped them to a 2-0 start. Puyallup is going to have their hands full tomorrow. A little West Coast battle.
And so leading things off, it will be pinch hitting for Austin Olean. It's Jack Josephson into the game, replaced him on the mound. In there for strike 2.
You're on camera.
The 1-2. Just a touch inside.
Josephson comes out, pitches a bit, leaves the game, and then comes back in as a pinch hitter. Re-entry can be fun.
Morales still out there, and count is full. So West Fargo is doing what they can to try and extend the ball game. If the deficit stays at 10 or larger after 5 innings, game is called.
Yeah, at this point, it would only be insurance in the top of the 5th.
High into right, Henninger gets called off by Souza, who makes the play. Souza been impressive in the field.
They've done a nice job, yeah. All across the field, but Souza in particular has been rangy, kept his eye on it, never lost it in the sun or anything like that, and handled it well. You look up, though, on the board, 0 errors for both teams. That has not been a thing for the grand majority of this tournament.
And no errors yesterday for Tri-Valley.
Well, when you only have to play 3.5 innings.
Fair enough. But no mistakes are no mistakes, and they've played a clean game on both sides so far, as now it is Cooper Fuchs. Got on with a walk in the first. Was 1 for 3 yesterday. A play to watch. He's been effective when he's been at the plate, but been a difficult game for West Fargo today.
I can say that till April 2nd next year.
If you're West Fargo, you now are a little behind the 8 ball, assuming this whole scores. You're 0, and not just in this game, but you're 0-2 now with 3 days left in pool play. That's with an off day mixed in, so 2 games left to go. What is the best way for them to bounce back as Fuchs goes down on strikes?
They're got to be thinking to themselves, all right, Arkadelphia had the same fate we did, got Tri-Valley in the middle of a heater, and say, okay, we're both in that same pool. We're going to have our chance to kind of get after it and reassess. And it's the same advice for them that we had for Arkadelphia yesterday. They all do count the same. So you're 0-2, but still time to bounce back and get rolling. But it does start to create some pressure when game 3 rolls around. That's when you really have to get going.
So Aiden Bioni, who's 0 for 1, comes up to the plate, and no doubt West Fargo is going to be up against the wall just a little bit over these next couple of days as they try and bounce back.
That game, by the way, is game 3 tomorrow. It is the 2 victims of the Tri-Valley offense going at it, West Fargo versus Arkansas.
It presents itself as an interesting game because there's going to be some desperation there. You know, the first day of the tournament, everyone's juiced up. Everyone's the same 0-0. Even today, you got a couple new teams. You know, it's hard to be too high or low sometimes after day 1. Now day 3 is when you start to get a little bit of separation.
Yep, and West Fargo certainly knows that for all intents and purposes, that's not even a pool play game for them. That is a bracket game. You must win. That's potential elimination right there because this Tri-Valley team is absolutely unrelenting.
Last frame of this game 3 here from Williston, West Fargo and Tri-Valley. Tri-Valley, after not scoring in the first, 4 in the second, 6 in the third, and 4 in the 5th. Or rather, excuse me, 4 in the 4th. And now they'll come back out onto the plate and just another strong performance. Yesterday, 16 runs on 11 hits in 1 inning. Today, spread it out a little bit more, but 14 runs on 11 hits. The strength, the balance, they have been far and away through roughly 48 hours here, the most impressive team of the tournament.
No question about it. They have been a challenge, and now it's Ian Scarry's turn to face that challenge. He's the new pitcher. Houston Tevet will come in and catch. Kaiser Nordics in center field.
So 7-8-9, it was Noah Betker. Instead, it will be, oh, I beg your pardon, have that switched around, and it'll be Dylan Souza up at the plate. Souza, 1 for 2 today, a single, also walked, was up twice in the third. Part of that big 6-run third inning that was sort of the backbreaker in this one. Souza, a dribbler to Bioni for the first out.
Bioni does the job, gets a quick out. So far, so good for Ian Scarry. At this point, you just want to get to it and go bottom 5. See if you can't score a few runs. They would need 4 to extend the ball game.
On West Fargo's end, obviously some struggles here today, but over the last couple of games, yesterday's shutout 3-0, close game with a pitching and defense kept him in as Henninger takes a ball. Today only put up 1 run. Would you change anything approach-wise offensively going through to Game 3 tomorrow?
Hey, they scored first, and so you had that opportunity, and there's only so much you can change at this point in the season. The coaches have coached, the players have played. At this point, you're more or less a finished product. If you weren't, you wouldn't be in this World Series. So they did the job. West Fargo came in, won the North Dakota State tournament, didn't have to go to a regional. That certainly helps them in a lot of ways, but it also puts them behind the 8 ball. Because they didn't have that regional competition, you haven't faced out-of-state teams as much, and that's posing a challenge here as that gets Henninger in the foot. And so now it's like, okay, we're really battle-tested here. We're 0-2. We've played 2 very different ball games, but you go into the Arkadelphia game tomorrow understanding that your World Series fate is at stake, and now you're that back-against-the-wall feeling. So you're playing it, you're leaving everything on the line, because if you drop to 0-3, you'll have another game, but almost certainly nothing past that.
Yeah, it would be difficult at 0-3 to try and advance past pool play, and so that game against Arkadelphia is going to be extremely interesting tomorrow. Going to have an elimination-type feel. George Schmidt up at the plate. Schmidt been at the plate 3 times, hit once, a walk, a single, and scored all 3 times. That is efficiency for you. One, high and in tight.
On the flip side, the other side of that token is Tallahassee. And these guys, you never want to look ahead, but they're going to start to envision bracket play here. Still got to play it out, and again, they will meet up on the last day of pool play. So if this trend continues, that will be the battle for the 1 seed in the National Division.
And that is a really intriguing matchup. Tallahassee, who beat this West Fargo team yesterday, as Schmidt picks up a walk in a really low-scoring game. We said coming into their game earlier, okay, you got the job done, but was that the best you had to offer? And it clearly wasn't. They took down Boyala 8-1 earlier today and spread it out pretty well. And it was really down the stretch where they took over late in that game. Of their 8 runs, 4 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th. So stepped up late when they needed to, as now it's Matteo Minetti, who's maybe had the most dangerous bat today. It's probably between him and Cade Robertson. Minetti, 3 for 3 along with a double and an RBI. Minetti sends it high and out of play past the reach of Betker. Reminder, we got one more game after this one. Williston, the hosts, will take on King Philip. Williston, a 9-4 loss last night in the nightcap against Fargo. King Philip, a 2-0 victory yesterday. Minetti, deep shots, and finally they get the best of them.
Yeah, the perfect day goes to 3 of 4 with 2 RBIs. Still quite a showing. And look, you gave that a bit of a ride. You're forcing a retreat, and Jackson was already playing a bit up, but does come up, secure that baseball. Out number 2.
So West Fargo 1 out away from getting out of the inning. It's Brennan Baptist back up, singled, and his first time up in the 4th. Pinch hitting for Robertson, who was good in his time. 2 for 2 with 4 RBIs. It's been that kind of day for Tri-Valley where everything is working. Another run comes around. 16 yesterday and 15 today. Henninger scores for the second time.
Good day for Brennan Baptist. 2 hits, latter of which scores 1. Henninger gets a great jump and more padding to keep this a 5-run game for Tri-Valley. Excuse me, a 5-inning game.
Aiden Foley, another guy with a strong performance. 1 for 2, single and a walk. West Fargo just searching for that final out and try and get some momentum in their last time potentially at the plate before regrouping for day 3. It's Foley, and then, if need be, Ryan Cooney on deck, Christian Morales, and Anthony Louie. Deuce is wild for Brennan Baptist. Beg your pardon, Aiden Foley. And a quick meeting on the mound for Bryce Mattern as West Fargo doing what they can to finish strong. Certainly give them credit. They've played hard these last couple innings despite things really not going their way. I beg your pardon, it's not Bryce Mattern, actually Ian Scarry on the mound now. Two. Foley fouls it off the dirt and maybe off himself, and he'll try it again. Scarry just tries to bring an end to the frame.
Saturday, August 20th, they play the 49ers.
2-2 in the dirt.
So
Good block from behind the plate.
Oh, was it? I didn't see that.
Easton Tevet in there now. And it's a full count for Foley. Payoff. In there for strike 3. Ring him up, and West Fargo. Foley caught looking. Lose, baby. Tri-Valley's motto, certainly these last couple of days, and yeah, can't argue with the results, can ya? A 16-1 victory yesterday, a 15-1 lead right now, barring a big push from West Fargo that would trim the lead to less than 10. This game will be over in 5, so on the mound, Christian Morales out there to try and round things out for Tri-Valley. So most teams have played 14 innings these last couple of days. Right now, West Fargo looking at about 8.5. Noah Betker will lead things off. 1 hit today so far for West Fargo. Betker, bouncing ball to Foley for the outs.
Morales has looked good. He's been perfect so far. 4 up, 4 down for Christian Morales. And like you said, we talk a lot about the offense, but as of right now, they're 2 over the minimum. So that's really good. They both came in the first, that single and the walk. Since then, it's been 3 up, 3 down in innings 2, 3, 4, and a third of the way there here.
Not a bad start at all for Tri-Valley. Flying in from California and showing North Dakota how the West Coast does it these last couple of days. Jackson Narum, wave and miss, 0-2.
And again, if you're West Fargo, you just put this one behind you. Say, all right, 0-2. Now it's do or die the rest of the way. You know what's in front of you.
0-2. Outside, we've now seen every team at least once. Tri-Valley, certainly the most gaudy scores of the tournament.
Yep.
Of the teams that you've seen, is there one that pops out the most you think that could give Tri-Valley even a little bit of trouble?
Probably Tallahassee. Right now, you can't help but think it's the top of this division.
Good backup from Souza. He's been excellent on second all day. Another 4-3 put out, and let's go straight to our player of the game. You had your pick of the litter, but we are going with Cade Robertson. 2 for 2, 4 RBIs today. What more can you say?
He was incredible. 2 swings of the bat, like you said, brings in 4. He was amazing. Winds up getting pulled, and his spot in the order, already enchanted by his magic, remains productive. He was excellent. Again, you could pick a number of players in a game like this, but he was the spearhead. He's the one who put this out of reach and ended this one even before it actually ended. Nice game for Robertson.
Averaging, surrendering 1 run a game and scoring 15.5 through the first 2 games. Not too shabby a start for Tri-Valley. They start pool play 2-0. West Fargo falls to 0-2. We have got one more game tonight. It's set for about an 8 o'clock first pitch, so we'll take about a half-hour break, come back on the air 7:45 to get you ready for Williston and King Philip. We'll see you then.
Primary objective was every child to have the opportunity